On March 5th, 1959, 21 black teenagers died in a building fire after being left alone and locked inside of their dormitory at a neglected and segregated reform school in Arkansas. The children were living at the Negro Boys Industrial School, NBIS, a juvenile work farm located just outside the predominantly black town of Wrightsville, Arkansas. Boys between the ages of 13 and 17 who were orphaned, homeless, or considered delinquent because of extremely minor crimes were sent to live at NBIS. At the time, any action by a black person that threatened the racial hierarchy could be deemed criminal. One boy had been sent to NBIS for riding a white boy's bicycle, even though the white boy's mother told law enforcement that the black boy had permission to ride the bike. Another black boy had been sent to NBIS for a Halloween prank, soaping windows. The disparities between the segregated white reform schools and black reform schools in Arkansas could not have been more evident. White institutions were predominantly geared towards education, treating white boys like students and teaching them vocational skills like carpentry and metalwork. Meanwhile, the boys at NBIS were treated like prisoners and subjected to manual labor, forced to farm the land around the school. The black teenagers at NBIS were also forced to live in horrifically dangerous conditions even prior to this fire. When a sociologist toured NBIS in 1956, 3 years before the deadly fire, he reported appalling conditions. "Many boys go for days with only rags for clothes," he wrote. "More than half of them wear neither socks nor underwear." It is not uncommon to see youths going for weeks without bathing or changing clothes. The water at the school was also considered undrinkable. The night of the fire at NBIS, the boys' dormitory was completely abandoned by staff members and was locked from the outside, as it was each night, making it impossible for 21 of these black teenagers to escape, while 48 of the black teenagers in the dormitory that night managed to break their way out of the burning building by jumping out of a window. 21 teenagers remained trapped and burned to death. A committee investigated the fire, but no one was ever held responsible. Today, the Arkansas Department of Corrections runs an adult prison called the Wrightsville Unit on the land where NBIS was formerly located. Though black people make up only 15% of the population of Arkansas, they constitute 42% of the prison population, including 38% of the population in the Wrightsville Unit. They also stated this: a 1956 report by sociologist Gordon Morgan documented the horrific conditions of Wrightsville. It was not merely that vocational education suffers great at school. The squalor was mind-boggling. Many boys would go for days with only rags for clothes. More than half of them wear neither socks nor underwear during the winter of 1955 through 56. It is not uncommon to see youths going for weeks without bathing or changing clothes. At times, the number of boys at the school was over 100. There was no laundry equipment. A single 30-gallon hot water tank served the bathing needs of the entire population. The water was also deemed undrinkable. Employees brought their own drinking water to work. They later stated that at an earlier Arkansas Claims Commission hearing, individual family members had been awarded a few $100s each for the deaths of their loved ones. White attorneys representing the families received as much as 50% of the damages awarded by the commission. What you were able to hear is American history. And the problem with this history is that the United States doesn't like to be honest. They like to hide. They want to turn people's attention and their eyes away from the horrendous atrocities that they have committed to tons of black people. This is one of them. So you had the school for black boys, right? So they were there for whatever reason. And oddly enough, the whole place was locked down. Nobody was able to get in. Nobody was able to get out. And supernaturally, a fire just started out of nowhere. Very suspiciously, right? Out of all of the buildings, out of all of the things that might have been there, right? They could have probably even had an abandoned shed or a warehouse, right? Somebody decided that, hey, it would be a good idea to burn up what would, in a sense, technically be this building that, is housing individuals, right? For whatever reason, right? Just wow, just set it ablaze. And still to this day, nobody knows the person who did it. And the funniest thing about this is that you have a lot of people right now that don't know anything about the horrendous, horrible atrocities that a lot of their families committed against Black people in Black communities, or even in quote unquote, unsegregated communities, right? And it's quite amazing how a lot of people can stand there with their chest out and they can just try to say, oh, well, my family wasn't a part of this. We did this and we did that. How do you really know? How do you know? Because, as stated before, the person who, or the person or persons who committed these acts, this fire, this arson, right on American soil, domestic terrorist, for all intents and purposes, has never been caught. And their bloodline is still running around here rampant, and we don't know who they are, right? It's an invisible enemy, as they would like to say back during 2001, dealing with 9/11, right? We're dealing with an invisible enemy, an enemy that does not even have a face. We know who the enemy is, but we can't specifically point that enemy out and directly tell you. And not only that, we have other fires and other instances of horrendous acts taking place and happening to those in the Black community. And again, nobody ever received a response, an answer, or any type of justice. The main thing that people would like Black people to do is just to shut up and to just leave it in the past. That's what a lot of people like to say. Oh, it was so long ago. It was so long ago. It was in the past. It was in the past. 50 years ago is not that. It's not that far. You still have people that were around from 50 years ago, but you're going to try to tell people that was a long time ago. You got some people that was around from 60, 70 years ago. But then when you want to bring up that history, people are like, oh, it was so long ago. What do you expect us to do? It's bad that it happened, but that's not now. Everything is different. Everything is multicultural. Everything is this, everything is that, right? Because people don't want to face the truth. Because the moment in time that they have to face the ugly truth, that means that now they're educated about something that took place. And now once they're educated, they're stuck because they have to admit that it took place. And now they don't know exactly what to do because now the information that they originally had is now broken, is shattered. So they don't know if they should just sit there and try to pick up the pieces, stay in one place, or try to move forward and become better with the information, more educated, and actually try to do better than the past. A lot of people fail on the latter, which is to pick up, keep moving, keep educating themselves, educate others, and become better than the previous. A lot of people would rather just stay in one place where they are because it's a lot simpler. It's easier. That's the problem with the world. A lot of people want to take the easy route or the easy way out when it deals with a lot of things. And that's a shame. Because it would be a lot more beneficial if people would grow, if people would actually move forward. Because then as humans, we could actually get some things accomplished. We wouldn't be stuck in the same position that we've always been in for, hundreds of years. We could actually move forward for the betterment of everybody, right? But I guess some people aren't there yet. I guess that's not what people realistically want. People would rather have the same sorry, sad system where people are arguing, bickering about religion, about skin color, just so people can have something to argue about. Because without arguments, without the same thing that people have been doing, what are people going to do? Nothing. They're going to stand still because they don't know what to do. Again, this is a horrendous act that was committed, and acts like these are still committed to this day. It wasn't that long ago that I gave you guys a story about a African family whose house was set ablaze by 3 teenagers in the suburbs. And the reason that their house was set ablaze was because the teenager felt that he knew who stole his phone. And he decided to go to the house and burn it down. And he took out a whole family. All of them took out a whole family. All to find out that they went after the wrong house. So an innocent family lost their lives all over a simple iPhone, a device, a piece of technology that could be replaced. It's crazy. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.